Welcome to Benjamin's Dream and the Dreamers Podcast. Hey everyone, it's week number 6 in fantasy football. So let's call up our first member of the league, which is Mike, and see what he has to say this week.
Hey Ben, what's up?
Oh, not too much. How are you? Last week you lost, correct?
Yes, I did.
Which was really frustrating because you only scored, so like when you played me the week before, you scored like 150 points or like 100, it was like 150.1 or something ridiculous. And then you scored 70 last week.
Yeah, very frustrating.
David Johnson played well, correct?
Yes, he did.
And so did Melvin Gordon, or no?
Yeah, I think he played. Yeah, Melvin Gordon had a good game, I think, too. Yeah.
Then where was it just that Calvin Ridley didn't go off?
Calvin really didn't do much, obviously, in the Steelers game. My other receiver didn't do much. Honestly, I didn't get much production. I mean, kicker had a decent amount of points. My defense did terrible because it was the Rams in that shootout.
Mm-hmm.
So 6 points. And Cam didn't do very well either.
Okay, yeah, because I was trying to figure out what you played. Did you play Golden Tate last week?
I did, yeah. I think in my other league, it's PPR. I think he actually did pretty good. I
Right.
just think he didn't score. He didn't have a lot of yards.
No, I got you. Has Latavius Murray worked out for you at all because
Not
of
at all.
Dalvin Cook was out?
He hasn't done anything. I started him the first week when Dalvin Cook was out.
Mhm.
He got 1 point.
No, I got you.
But I am playing Corell this week because Corell keeps having like 20-point games out of nowhere.
Right, because
I don't know how.
they use him similar to Chris Thompson, like how the Washington Redskins use Chris Thompson, because they'll involve him in a lot. They just might not give him a lot of handoffs. If that makes sense.
Yep, exactly. So unless he breaks a big play, it's kind of like pointless.
Mm-hmm. So are we in the same division? No, I'm in the same one,
I
brother.
don't think so.
The two people in front of you, Travis is 4-1. I think Drew's 2 and must be 3-2.
3-2, yeah.
And then you're 2-3.
I'm 2-3 now, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm 2-3 in mine, which isn't a huge deal, I guess. It seems awful at this point because like we only play till like is it week 13 and then the playoffs start?
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to. So I traded for Bell like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I feel like is this going to be? I hope it's not a waste, but we'll just see what happens. I don't know.
You have Bell right now?
I have Bell right now, but he's not coming back till week 8.
Yeah.
So that meant when I traded for him, I had 3 more games. So like week 5, week 6, and then our bye week, and then week 8 he would play.
You'll get 5 games out of him, which is pretty good, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. I just hope I don't get too far back, which I'm not really, but we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't do anything free agent-wise this week or last week. I've just been kind of trying to keep it steady, but yeah, I was frustrated to have a bad week last week.
Right. I was going to say, I don't remember if I made a lot of moves the week before. I think the week before I did make a lot of moves because I picked up some more running backs. And I picked up the Colts running back. I picked back up, I tried to pick up Chris Thompson, but Drew got him. And then I took the Tennessee Titans versus the Bills. I mean, they only got me 8 points, which isn't awful, but I think the Bears were on a bye, so it wasn't a huge deal. This week, so I have Travis Kelce as my tight end. So, and he doesn't have a bye till week 12, so I'm, very excited about that. But I picked up Greg Olsen this week just to see where it goes. I feel like he'll just get hurt again, but if he doesn't, he's one of Cam's favorite targets.
He is. Is this his first game back this coming weekend?
If he plays, yeah, it'll be his first game back. He played the first one, got hurt, and then he was out for 4 weeks. But it was the bye week on week 4.
I mean, he's definitely good to stash, especially since you have Kelce and you can wait for week 12.
Right, yeah.
By then you'll know if he's doing anything. So.
Right. I was trying to see, based off that I'm a Steelers fan, who the Steelers were playing week 12, but I think it's Oakland, so it's Jared Cook.
Okay, I got Cook.
Yeah, right. You got Cook. That's what.
This league too. I think I got him in both.
Yeah. Has Antonio Gates been consistent at all?
I haven't even played him yet. I think he had one game where he scored a touchdown and had a couple catches, but he's not in a standard scoring. He's not much of an option really. He hasn't been doing much.
No, I got you.
Tight end. They have the same backup that they had when he was still playing. They just drafted a guy who got hurt. That's why they brought him back this year because he actually retired.
Hunter Henry is the guy that got hurt, right?
Yeah, because their other guys like Virgil Green, they've had him for a while.
Mm-hmm. I think he was on the Broncos for a time bit.
I think he was, yeah. They kind of split time, I think. So he's not been doing.
I guess you. Okay, we'll switch topics a little bit. Which Steelers are going to show up Sunday? Which team?
I think it's a division game on the road. I think they're going to show up how they looked last week. I think they're going to show up good. I was never in the huge, I didn't get to talk about 2 weeks. I was never in the huge like panic mode. Like
Right.
I wasn't happy with how they played, especially after the Ravens game. But I mean, there's no reason to panic. Like I don't know. I think they can still be fine. I think the division's up for grabs. So
It's like it's like I understand what you're saying totally. It's just sometimes what you see on the field is what it's going to be, if that makes sense. And there was obviously some games like, well, let's not count the Browns game. We bounced back semi versus Tampa Bay, but we didn't score. We scored 0 points in the second half, and then we scored 0 points in the second half versus Baltimore.
Yep.
But then we played Atlanta, and we played very, very well. I think we had a defensive touchdown again, and we did very well on offense. But it depends on which running game we get. I mean, I guess I don't know. It depends on which running game we get because I mean, I think Ben can just throw all the time, which in theory he kind of did versus the Chiefs, but we can't. We have to hold the ball a little longer because I think our defense probably gives up too many big plays.
I agree, and I don't know what kind of run defense Cincinnati has. I actually think they're decent against the run. I might be wrong though, but that's worrisome. But the one thing that kind of saves Connor and that he does similar to Bell is he is a decent receiver, which surprised me. Like so, maybe some of those like wheel routes or catching the ball in the backfield could be like a good kind of change up.
No, I got you. Yeah.
He did pretty good at that. He had like 75 yards last week through the air, so that's pretty good.
I never really understood. I mean, obviously, if Bell comes back, he's getting top dollar, so you want to give him the ball all the time, if that's the situation, if you look at it that way. But I don't understand why we don't use Stephen Ridley more once in a while. Like, we just give Connor the ball over and over again, and then he's like blatantly tired, which I guess is maybe, I don't know. But just give someone else the ball like twice, or have someone else pass block once in a while.
I think we had Ridley carry the ball in second down like 3 times, and that was his usage for the whole game.
Right.
Like was tired and threw him in. Because really, actually, I thought he was decent. He was a good receiver too. Like he was actually a really good receiver. I thought.
New England.
He was a good receiver. I thought.
No, I guess so. How do you like the Mountaineers matchup versus Iowa State?
I don't know. I feel like everyone. I'm kind of scared of the game. But I also think we're a much better team, and if we play the way we should and don't have a bad half, then I think we should win easily though.
Right.
I think they're gonna be a lot tougher than their record suggests at 2-3.
I didn't watch the game versus Oklahoma State. I saw a beginning of it, like the beginning of the game a little bit, and it was kind of like back and forth, I think. Did they beat Oklahoma State?
They did, yeah. They beat them. They had a third-string quarterback play the game. He's a true freshman, and he played great.
Oh, I hope it's not one of those things. I don't like. I mean, I guess it. I just feel like I remember when I was like, I guess I was a teenager, but like when Tom Brady played his first game versus Steelers or something, I think he beat us.
Yeah,
and it was just frustrating because I think it was in the playoffs. It was annoying, but like I hope this situation with this like freshman quarterback that just came in, I hope he plays like a freshman rather than like a good player if he is.
That's the thing. I mean, he came in out of nowhere. I mean, they beat not a ranked team anymore, but a decent team. And I mean, who knows? It doesn't mean he's going to play good this week when he has a full week as a starter. They just kind of threw him in there. So I don't know. I think it'll be a close game. It usually is against them. So I don't know, and the fact that it's at night and in Iowa State, like I don't know. I think it'll be a close game actually.
I think this is a kind of a weird. I think if we don't turn the ball over, I think we'll be fine. But it seems like we're going to at least turn over the ball once every game.
If we turnover battle, we'll win by 14 points or more.
Correct. Yeah, I found it awesome. I mean, I think multiple people have talked about this. How we've never trailed in the game so far. We've always led.
We're the only team left apparently at all.
That's so. That's such a good stat in favor of us.
I know, because I know like Alabama was down to Ole Miss by like 3 for like a second, and that was it. Because I was thinking like, how are they down?
Right. Yeah.
We're the only team left that has not trailed for a second.
That's wild. I mean, I'm pretty excited. I really like the combination of backs we have, running backs. I think they really help change the pace, kind of. Because like I really like McCoy, but like Letty Brown is really good also. And then we also have who's the third running back? We actually started him versus Iowa State.
Petaway? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's good too. Yeah, that's the thing. Like a lot of people, like especially a lot of the podcasts I listen to, they were all like down on McCoy. I mean, I think overall, like receiving and everything else combined, McCoy's the best overall back, but I mean,
Right.
Buddy Brown's like great between the tackles. He's awesome as a freshman.
Right, yeah.
Petaway had like 160 yards against Iowa State last year or something. Like, he's a really good running back too.
Mm-hmm. What I've noticed, I feel like the past few games, is like McCoy might not start, but he always finishes the game.
He does. Yeah.
Like he'll just
Yeah, he only had like 2 carries, and one was a pass for a touchdown.
right.
Yep.
So I'm pretty excited about the team this year. I like Bigelow and our defensive line. I think our secondary is kind of stepping up also, which is nice.
Yep. Our defense, I mean, they're not amazing, but they're the best they've been in a while, I feel like. Especially the D-line hasn't been this good since, like, Rod was here, I feel like. Like, they're actually good now.
No, I got you. But it was good talking to you, and same time next week.
Yeah, you too, man. Sounds good.
Sounds thanks. Bye.
All right, see you later. Bye.
Okay, so now we're going to call up another member of the league, which is Gabby, and we'll see what she has to say this week.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Not too much.
So this week, I see you have Jared Goff as your starting quarterback. Is there any part of you that wants to start Wentz tonight?
Yeah, I was actually just debating whether or not I should, since this game is going to start soon.
Right, yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, since it's a divisional game against the Giants, I feel like we know their offense and their defense pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hesitating whether or not who I should start.
No, I got you, but I think the same thing could go for the could go for the Giants. They know your offense and they know your defense pretty well. I feel like,
That's true.
so I remember the first Thursday night game. Actually, I might be lying. The Bengals played the Ravens, and the Bengals blew them out. And then I think it was the Jets and the Browns, and that's when the Browns won. And I think I'm forgetting a game, but then I think it was 2 weeks ago. Who played last week? 2 weeks ago was the Rams versus the Vikings. Then who played last week?
I can't remember. I don't think I watched any games last week.
Sweet. Good. What was I going to say? You starting McCoy this week? Do you have more confidence that he'll bounce back?
Yeah, I didn't have a ton of other options either.
Right. I mean, Tyler Lockett's weird. So, like, he'll get touchdowns pretty consistently because I've had him in past leagues.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, when you go to look how many receptions he's got, he only has, like, 3 or something. It's like, well, I mean, I guess it's fine since we're not in a PPR. But if you're only, let's say, if you have, let's say, that's Stephon Diggs. Well, he's going to get, 12-plus targets. And that
Right.
means he has 12 times to have a big play. But Tyler Lockett only has 5 chances, and he catches 3 of the ball. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's hard to pick when to start him and not.
Yeah.
Have you started?
I think.
No, keep
Go
going.
ahead. Well, I decided to give McCoy a chance, seeing that Ajayi got hurt, and then I feel like I didn't have a lot of other options with who to go with, so
No, I
give
got
him
you.
a shot. He's projected to get 9 points or so, and he did pretty well the last 2 weeks, I think. So it looks like he's getting a little bit more consistent than when he started off the season.
No, that makes
We'll
sense.
see.
What's Bilal Powell been averaging? Because I feel like he gets a lot of.
8 or 9.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, he's just relatively consistent. I don't think. I mean, he gets a decent amount of touches. I think. What's the other guy's name?
Isaiah Corral.
Yeah, I think he's typically been scoring more points, but I think they've been splitting the touches pretty evenly.
Which is not. Well, that's good for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think your matchup versus the Packers versus the 49ers, I think that should be good for you because the 49ers are playing a backup quarterback, which he did start for the 49ers last year until Jimmy Garoppolo did show up. But I think it should be still a good matchup. I think they should be angry based off their last week's score because I think they left too many points on the board versus the Lions.
Okay. Yeah, I figured I'd have the Eagles for a couple weeks, and I feel like they had 1 or 2 games that they put up a decent amount of points, but they've kind of been just sitting at the 3 or 4 points. I mean, and they haven't been scoring a lot, but I feel like, they haven't been getting a lot of sacks or fumbles or anything like interceptions and stuff, so they're really not getting that many points. So I figured I'd try something else.
I got you. And I
At
saw
this
some.
point, it's kind of just change as many things and see if I can win one more game.
No. I got you. I mean, in theory, so you're in my division, My buddy Chase with Jason and Giles, who's in first place overall with 5-0. So I looked at the playoff standings, but I told you like week 1 or something, like something ridiculous, and I thought it was based off who like the top 2 in the division. It's the top 2 score overall. So I mean, we could. So in theory, I mean, obviously we're not going to get the top 4 records in our division, but I mean we could still make it because we're only like a few games behind.
Okay.
So I mean it's not a big deal
I
yet.
feel like every player that I think is doing pretty well, as soon as I pick them up, they either get hurt or they do really badly. So
No, I got you.
I feel like I'm slightly cursed, but that's okay.
Did Jared Goff bounce back in the second half, fantasy points wise?
I think he only had like 14 points.
That's what I thought, unfortunately, because I saw Cooper Cup did well for you. He got you like 15 plus, correct?
Yeah, he did pretty good. He was a good pickup, but Goff really didn't pan out as well as I think that was the lowest points he's put out so far this season. So
No, I got you. And the Austin Hooper pick versus he should have. Did you have him last week, or did you play Vance McDonald?
no, I actually traded Evan Ingram because he was out with an injury for a couple weeks. So I dropped him.
I got you.
Sorry,
No, that's no
dropped
big
him.
deal.
I picked up Austin Hooper.
No, I got you. But Tampa Bay has been giving up points like crazy, so I think that might be a good matchup for you this week. I'm unfortunately playing Matt Ryan, so I'm not looking forward to that. Because like Tampa Bay's, I mean the Bears look like the greatest offense ever.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like again every player I pick up, they just like don't put up any points. Like I got last week, I picked up Mason Crosby because
He was ranked the number 1 kicker.
yeah, and then he missed 4 field goals.
Right?
or
Yeah, it was
something.
crazy.
Yeah, I was like, are you kidding?
Oh, I was mad. I mean, I only lost to Jason by like 6 points, but like Dan Bailey missed multiple field goals, which could have. I mean, but that's all I hate. I mean, you can't do nothing about that. To me, like I feel like sometimes, if you somehow could go back and change that, it would just change everything else. Then it would be pointless.
Yeah, very true.
How do you feel on the Eagles versus the Giants tonight?
I don't know. I feel like we're dealing with a lot of injuries right now. And still making a lot of mistakes, but I don't know. I feel like against I can't think of names.
Odell Beckham? Eli Manning?
Against Eli Manning, it's just I feel like he makes a decent amount of mistakes nowadays anyway. So hopefully we can.
I'm hoping he just plays
read him
okay,
well and-
because I have Odell Beckham tonight, and I've decided to put. I think I started him at my. I put him as my. I had him as my flex for a second, but then I was like, well, that's dumb, because like if I change my mind, I can't put a running back there. I can't put a tight end there. You know what I mean? So I put him back as my like number 2 receiver, and right now I have Emmanuel Sanders as my flex, but I could change that. But I remember watching the Eagles game last week, and Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs like went crazy. Well, Adam Thielen did. Stephon played very well though, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping Odell.
He did pretty good. He just hasn't been scoring any touchdowns.
No, I gotcha. I hope. I hope Odell just goes crazy tonight, but we'll see.
It's kind of weird. I mean, since I grew up so close to where the state, like relatively close to the stadium, it's like I don't hate the Giants.
No, I gotcha.
Like, but so then when they play, I'm kind of like, well, I kind of am rooting for the Eagles, but I kind of want the Giants to do well too. Kind of a conflict since they're in the same division. But
No, I guess. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but
I don't feel like that at all about the Redskins and the Cowboys. Like, I just hate them.
no, I don't understand why the Cowboys. Well,
Are in that.
I think I know why the Cowboys aren't that great. It's based off Dak really isn't that good, unfortunately. He seems like a great person, but he can't make a majority of the throws. And like his rookie year, he had Dez, and I think he had a number 2 receiver that was pretty good. I unfortunately can't think of his name. And he had Witten, and he still had the offensive line he does now. Plus he had Zeke with him, and they were just firing on all cylinders. And I think I think somehow a lot of teams are beating that offensive line off the ball so that they can get in the gaps. And you know, Zeke can't have a big game, but when like 3 or 4 guys is trying to tackle him, he's going to be corralled most of the time. But then
Right.
that means then Dak has to throw, and he hasn't really shown he can do that.
Yeah, I think his rookie season, he was definitely putting up numbers that everyone thought he was going to be really like up there with the elite quarterbacks, and I feel like that really hasn't panned out.
No, I guess you. I think last year showed a lot because when Zeke was out, then he was back in because like he tried to fight the suspension and stuff. It kind of showed you what they were going to be, and people were like shocked. But then, first, it seems like they didn't mind Des Bryant's personality, and I get why you want to cut him based off the money. You know, you want to give it to other players maybe, or try to do other moves. But he doesn't have anyone to throw to now, because Witten retired like kind of all of a sudden, and then they're just not really as good as they should be.
Yeah, well, I'm not too unhappy about that.
Me either, so that's good. It was good talking to you, and we're on the same time next week.
Okay,
All right, bye.
bye.
Hey, next caller, we're going to call Chase, and we're going to see what he has to say about this week.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
How much? What's up?
Oh, not too much. So did you unfortunately lost last week, correct?
Yeah, I lost again.
Who did you play? Drew?
I honestly don't remember, but I wasn't very close either.
It might have been, I don't know. It doesn't really matter at this point. I think your matchup with Jimmy Graham versus the 49ers might be okay. Has he been panning out at all?
Jimmy Graham?
Yeah.
No, not at all. He has hardly done anything.
I know this is a bad example since, but Travis Kelce got me 10 points. He had 100 yards versus the 49ers, so maybe you'll get lucky with that.
I don't know. It's just he's not as productive as I thought he would be. It's kind of it was kind of a wasted early pick. I think I wasn't too early, but still.
I don't think it wasn't too. I can't remember at the time, but I don't think it was too early. I think it didn't really matter. Did Devontae Freeman do okay? I unfortunately missed half the game. I was driving back, and then I was visiting family.
Yeah, I think he did all right. Yeah. No, he didn't have a touchdown, did he?
I don't think so. No.
I don't remember who scored for the Falcons, but I mean, did okay. LeBlanc ended up doing really well, but I didn't play him. He had at least 2 touchdowns, but I benched him.
No, I got you.
I should have played him in my flex instead of Tavon, but I didn't.
No, I got you. You could always move. Well, I mean, I don't know. How's Derrick Henry doing? I feel like he's underperforming, but.
I mean, he's probably my most consistent running back at the moment.
No, I got you.
But that's just because Freeman was injured.
How long has Tavon been a running back wide receiver?
How long is he what?
So he's labeled as a running back / wide receiver?
Well, I'm not sure when that happened.
Well, that's good. That's awesome then, because then, well, I mean, if he gets used more, but that's good because then you can put him at wide receiver or something and put another running back or something in your flex, or you know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah, and then Giovanni Bernard's hurt. So.
Well, actually, Joe Mixon came back. I don't know if, Giovanni Bernard might be actually hurt too.
He was out, so.
Okay, I got you.
But I got Alshon Jeffrey tonight, so hopefully.
I think you should. I feel like a lot of the Thursday night games have been kind of like shootouts so far, or at least a lot of offense, which would make a shootout.
Either that or nobody scores. Yeah.
No, I got you. So so I got to watch pretty much the second half of the game a little bit. I listened to it on the radio. We sounded okay. Were you able to watch the whole game, the Steeler game?
Yeah, I was.
How do you feel we did?
I feel the defense played pretty well, and I mean the offense. Ben and AB feel like it looks like they're starting to click again, so that's always good. And Connor looked good. I mean, he got more than 5 rushes, so
Right.
he got to develop a rhythm. I mean, if we win, I think we'll beat Cincy.
I hope so.
Cincy's that good, but I mean, they barely beat. They had to come back from behind and beat Miami, and
Right.
they beat the Falcons on a last-second touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
The week before, so I don't know. It's always a really hard, tough game.
Right.
A lot of very physical game. I look forward to it. Like it's anything like last year.
No, I got
You
you.
know, obviously, I hope nobody gets hurt like Shazier again, but
I understood what you meant. So I guess it didn't really matter in the first half, but Vontaze Burfict was back for the Bengals last week versus the Dolphins.
Yeah, I
But
think that was his first week back.
it was still, 17-0 Dolphins, and then all of a sudden it was 27-17 in the second half, right? Yeah, I did that right.
I think so. Yeah, I mean the Dolphins kind of suck. So
Well, the Dolphins were one of the undefeated teams, and then they got blown up by the Patriots, and then it might have been the Bengals game. I thought they were bouncing back, or it was a different one. You know what I mean? But I'm pretty sure they started out undefeated, and then I think they went to 0-2 after that.
yeah, I mean I'm not getting excited about them. I don't know. I mean the Patriots are going to win the division.
Correct,
Nobody else
yeah.
in that division is any good.
No, I got you. Oh, this is random. This is just pointless, just because I hate the Ravens. Did Justin Tucker actually miss a field goal, or was it blocked?
I could not tell you. I'm sorry.
It's no big deal because it was in the overtime game, and I saw on the stats that he missed a field goal. But in fantasy, if it's blocked, it's counted as a miss. Does that make sense? So I couldn't see if it was blocked. I didn't read if it was blocked or because I didn't watch the game because they went into overtime with the Browns and lost, which is awesome.
Which, yeah, I mean, good for the Browns, I guess. Let me see if I can look on here. I played Travis last week.
Travis's team is unfortunately very consistent. He scored like over 100 points the last 3 weeks every time.
Yeah, he beat me 129-92. I did better than I thought, actually. Oh, Rodgers ended up doing pretty good, too. He was stinking until later.
He would do that. So I had him last year, and he would do that some. But if he ever has to come back, he just starts putting it together because he'll run, he'll throw, he'll just do the stuff he needs to get them back into like somewhere within winning striking range. But sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Right. So Tucker was 3 for 4 on field goals. It says so. He either missed one or had a block. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I kind of hope he missed it, but I find it. He's just during the Sunday night game 2 weeks ago for us. And I thought Al Michaels jinxed him for sure. He's never missed a field goal under like 45 yards or something ridiculous. The only one he missed was a block, and it was like a few years ago. Maybe it was under 30. I don't know what it was. And I was like, oh, okay, he's going to miss this one. He didn't.
So I'm just reading, but yeah, it was blocked.
Okay. It was. I watched a little bit of the Eagles Vikings game because it was a later game.
Yeah.
And I saw Sheldon Gibson got it. It was probably like a 30-yard pass or something.
I didn't get to see the play, but 40. Yeah, he got me 4.7 points. I didn't play him, but
That's a
he
big
was
play.
like-
Yeah. I mean, it was a
I
big
didn't see
play
the
at the moment.
but yeah,
I got you.
they lost. The Eagles are 2-3.
I think so. Yes.
Man, good. I hope they don't make the playoffs.
They lost to Tennessee and they lost to Tampa.
Well, that division seems like it sucks too now.
Yeah. I do.
Redskins don't look any good. Giants don't look any good. I'm not sure about the Cowboys. Last game I watched, they lost to the Texans last.
Their
Sunday,
offense
yeah.
is not very consistent at all. Like Dak, I was talking to Gabby, the person before you. I don't think Dak can really make the throws he needs to carry the team.
Yeah.
I think
I don't think so either.
I can't remember their number 2 receiver his rookie year, but they had Dez, another like a very good number 2, Witten, that offensive line, and Zeke, and they were all performing at a high level. The second year,
Yeah.
Zeke got suspended.
Beasley or something.
No, it wasn't a slot receiver. It doesn't
Oh.
really matter, but it's gonna drive me nuts anyways. But and then the second year Zeke got suspended or wasn't there, and then he had to carry the team, and he did have Dez last year and Jason Witten, but once Dez was cut and Jason Witten retired, he doesn't really have a lot of targets to throw to at the moment.
No, or nobody trusts at least. Yeah, I couldn't name a receiver for them
Right.
other than as Beasley there still.
Beasley is there. I think they have Alan Hearns. I think he was a wide receiver from Jacksonville. Somehow that was a big free agent pickup, but he was like a number 2 at Jacksonville, but he wasn't like a good number. Like he wasn't. I didn't understand why that was such a big deal to them. I saw Tavon. Tavon's been playing, I guess, okay, if that's fair. Did you see
I mean,
play in the
he's
Sunday
doing-
night game? Sorry.
I didn't really get to watch much of that, no, but yeah, I ended up starting him. I think he got me like 4 points or so.
He had a pass. It was it was either like a deep slant or like a post type thing, and it bounced off his hands, and their cornerback picked it off.
Hmm.
But I don't
I
remember him
see
the
that.
rest of the game because I just wanted DeAndre Hopkins to score a touchdown, and he almost did. But that last play was pretty sweet. Did you stay up to watch the overtime play?
No, I missed that.
It was pretty interesting. I think he would.
No, I did. He had that long reception, and
Yeah.
he spun out of a couple
Like
got
twice,
tackles, and-
yeah. I thought he was
Yeah,
going to
yeah, I
fumble
did
for
see
sure.
that.
He was holding the
Yeah,
ball
he was
like
holding the ball out like that.
and
Yeah,
I was like, oh no.
yeah, I did see that play. Yeah, then they didn't like Dallas decide to punt on 4th and 1 or something before that.
I can't really remember. Like, I wasn't interested in the actual game. I know that sounds awful. I was just interested in the fantasy value.
Yeah,
So I didn't really pay attention. I just wanted the Texans to be back on offense type thing. And then they got on offense and went down and scored, so it wasn't a huge deal. Or scored a field goal, excuse me. Okay,
Yeah.
how do you like our matchup versus Iowa State, the
I mean,
Mountaineers?
we should win, obviously. I don't think Greer's going to throw 3 red zone interceptions again. And the defense is, despite what David Pollard thinks, I think our defense is pretty good. I don't know if you saw that.
I haven't seen it yet, no.
David Pollock, the guy that's on college football.
No, I know you're talking about, yeah.
Stuff. He said we have a bunch of nobodies on our defense. We don't have no good players. Is what he said.
Oh, no good
On our
players.
defense. That's what he said. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure you can find it on Twitter if you look for it.
All right. No good players. Okay.
And he said we haven't. Our defense has not played anybody, and Texas Tech was the number ranked offense in the country. So I don't know.
That doesn't. I mean,
And
maybe
he
that
said we
was
were going to lose too. So
a very weird, dig versus Texas Tech, saying they just weren't number one offense material. But
I mean, they still are statistically the number 1 offense.
no, I understand what you're saying, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not too worried. I feel like this team's pretty consistent. I like our running backs, Letty Brown and McCoy. I think they're very.
Yeah. Letty Brown's amazing.
Yeah, he's very good. He's big and fast, which it doesn't really make sense.
I
He
mean,
seems
I'm not
big.
concerned. Yeah, about the next 2 games. Texas should be a tough game.
Mm-hmm.
That was a surprising win last week for them over Oklahoma. Yeah, I mean it should be exciting. I mean we should be we could win every game. And there's no excuse not to. So
No, I agree with you totally.
this is our
So
year to do it.
okay, the top 4 teams. I can't. So it's Alabama, then Georgia.
I think so.
So that's 1, 2. So who's?
Ohio State and then maybe Clemson and then Notre Dame then us.
How is Clemson still in the top 5? I understand they
Yeah, I
didn't
guess 'cause
lose,
They're undefeated. I don't know.
but I don't know. I don't really get it.
Yeah, I don't know why they let that quarterback leave. I mean, that guy almost went out for the season that got hurt.
Right.
That against Syracuse, and I don't know. I think it's going to come back to bite him in the butt. But
I hope so because I don't feel like. I hope so. I hope other teams in the ACC can beat Clemson once or twice, and then it just screws. Like the winner of the ACC championships has like 2 losses, and it's not Clemson or something.
yeah, if it's not Clemson, there's nobody else in the ACC has a chance. I don't think to get in.
Right.
And
Okay.
if-
So
hell, I mean, watch Pickett beat Notre Dame this week. You never know.
they always. I hate that team. That's one thing we don't want. So, this is how I look at it. I feel like there's going to be 2 SEC teams. If Alabama does get 1 loss and don't go to the SEC championship, they're extremely good. They're probably going to put them in. Whoever wins the SEC championship most likely is going in. Most likely Ohio State's going to win the Big Ten championship, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah,
And then we can't have Notre Dame be undefeated.
we can.
We cannot have Notre
That's
Dame.
what I'm saying. I'm saying maybe Pitt could go out and beat them this week. You never know.
No, okay, my fault. I see what you're saying. I just was saying in the long run. But
Yeah, and I mean they've gone through the hard part of their schedule, I think, already. So I don't know, but we have a conference championship game.
right.
An undefeated West Virginia over an undefeated Notre Dame. They would probably get the nod just because they're Notre Dame. Unfortunately, I don't know.
Yeah, that's just how. Yeah, I agree with you. It depends on how well we won the Big 12. Like if we beat every even if we had a close game once or twice, but like the Big 12 championship was either we had a big game or we had like a last second drive to win or something. I think that could really help us. You know what I mean? Like a memorable moment.
Yeah, it's just an undefeated conference champion in a Power 5 conference should count for something. Yeah, I don't know.
No, I understand what you're saying. But I think the point that you made and I made, if Notre Dame goes undefeated, we're kind of going to be the odd man out if we go undefeated.
Well, I don't think Clemson's going to go undefeated.
Correct. Well-
And Pac-12's not very good.
So that means
And Ohio State, 2 SEC teams. Yeah, right. That leaves us and Notre Dame.
correct.
Assuming we went out, I don't know. If Georgia, I don't know. If Georgia maybe loses once this season and loses in the title game, if they have 2 losses, they won't make it.
I hope that would be another good thing for us, because I could see that Georgia does look extremely good, but I can't see Alabama losing 2 games, or at least losing the SEC championship.
No. I mean, they're pretty much a lock. I think Ohio State's pretty much a lock.
No, I
The
got you.
rest is kind of up for grabs.
No, I got you. It was good talking to you, and I'm around the same time next week.
All right.
Sounds good.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye. Okay, so now we're gonna call Giles and see what he has to say this week. Hey,
Hello.
what's up?
Hey,
So another week, another not an L in your loss column.
should have been.
Was it? For some reason, I don't feel like it. Was it? Who'd you play last week?
I believe I played your boss.
No, I played my ball. You must have played. Way is she's a physical therapist,
Okay.
but I remember seeing that because I remember she is like she's 1-4 now, so she'd been 1-3 at the time. I was like, oh, it'd be nice if you beat him, but you pulled it out, I think, with Kamara, right? Or no, I remember she didn't have any players after Sunday night, and then you still had like 2 or something.
I was down going into Sunday night, like, I'm trying to think. I was down going by like maybe 4
Mm-hmm.
going into Sunday night, and the Texans defense, but Kamara didn't do nothing. He lost. He was losing point. He was losing carries.
Yeah, I did
When
notice. I
Mark
saw people.
Ingram returned.
Right, yeah, I saw people talk about. So I was listening to like this. I think it was like Fantasy Sports on like Sirius XM, and they talked about how like Alvin Kamara did not do enough to like decrease the takeaways from Mark Ingram when he come back, and it sounded so ridiculous because when you look at his numbers, I feel like they're very good, but I guess his rushing numbers weren't like crazy good, if that makes sense. Like his fantasy numbers might have been fine, but like
I don't think, like I said, like Kamara is like that Darren Sproles kind of player. He's not like a actual running back. He can do a combination of both.
no, I guess
They're
yeah.
looking for that. They're looking for that guy
Home
who
run.
can carry the load. Yeah,
Right, yeah.
But it's not like Mark Ingram ran for like big yards. I mean, most of his touchdowns were in the goal line.
Right. I mean, I think most of his, well, not all of his carries, but I remember, like your point you just made, a lot of his carries were like within, 15, 20 yards. He went from like, 20 to 20 or something. The 20
Yeah,
to the 20.
But yeah, I mean, she honestly could have won, but I think a lot of hurt guys in the 4 o'clock games were injured.
Yeah, she talked about it. So I talked to her like she was 2 callers ago, and I think she brought that up. Do you feel good with your starting of Wendell Smallwood this week or on Thursday night?
I'm gonna go with him. I think he'll get the carries tonight.
I think he will too. I think that actually is a good play this week because they don't have. They're like, okay, we're just going to start him based off he was productive last week.
Yeah, he'll
On a
get the
short
carries, and then I'm sure they're going to look because Buffalo's looking to trade LaShawn McCoy. Maybe Philadelphia may want to bring him back.
I feel like LaShawn McCoy is like extremely underrated. Like he was very good when he was a top 5 back when he was in Philadelphia. And in theory, he's had top 5 back games in Buffalo, but they're not contending with anyone, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it didn't really matter. Because I remember last year, I think didn't you have Shady McCoy last year?
I think I did.
Like he would just get he'd get ball. They just kept giving him the ball, and he would just get touchdowns, 20-yard plays, 15-yard play. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's the only weapon they have up there. They just don't have it anymore.
Right. Yeah. So I'm surprised. So I think if the Eagles do trade for him and get him, I think that'll be a big piece for them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm still hoping. So this is like actual football, not fantasy football. I really hope the Steelers don't trade Bell, but I feel like it would just be the last from week 8 to week 16, and then if we made the playoffs, then he would just be gone. Because I don't see them repairing that relationship or him wanting to repair the relationship.
They won't do it because for whoever does trade for him, they would have to come to an agreement on a contract.
He would have to
On a
still he would still have to
contract.
sign the franchise tag, right? And then they would have to the next team would have to pay him the franchise tag, correct? I'm pretty sure that's what it is, because
I don't know.
he can't sign any deal besides the franchise tag at the moment, which is the big dilemma.
And who says that he's going to stay with the team that he ever got traded to?
Right, correct. That's another great point. So a lot of teams don't want to give up all these picks or a good player and a pick because they potentially just renting him for $14 million.
Yeah, and then who knows if that team would even, if they did trade him, who says that team's going to make the postseason?
Correct. And his first few years, besides the year he got suspended for smoking a little weed, he's got hurt a lot of years. He's been not on the field based off injuries. So who's saying that couldn't happen if you traded for him, you gave up a lot for him, and then he gets hit the first time, and he could be hurt. I mean, he's just got injured in the past. I don't think I think he plays through injury. He's just had legit injuries and not been able to play, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I like to see what he does when he does return. With I mean, are they gonna like slowly bring him in? Or are they just gonna be like how the Saints did Monday night
No, I got you.
and have him come in? And you're our guy now.
I think so I understand your point exactly, and I think they could be like, you're the guy now, but the way he runs, like when he first got on the team, I thought it was so frustrating because it was so different compared to other backs. Other backs hit the hole, run, they get 3 yards, so be it. It could take him almost 10 seconds to get 3 yards in theory because he'll just be so patient, and then sometimes that pans off and he can go 15 plus yards. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But it's a different kind of running compared to Mark Ingram, where you just give him the ball and he goes straight as fast as he can. Sometimes he hits the hole and he gets lucky. Not lucky, but he's in the right position. And then Bell can maybe the Steelers do that zone running, so it's whichever direction they're going. If the hole's in the, let's say if it's to the left, it's either in the 1 gap or it could be in the 5 gap. You know what I mean? It's okay, here's the hole, I'll just go there, type thing, rather than going straight to the 1 or the 3 or the 5.
Oh, that's yep. Understand? Yep.
I guess you. So your team, you're already undefeated. Blah 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 blah. If you get Fournette back, that's crazy. Have they said anything he's going to be back week whatever, or he might be healthy then?
I have not read anything about it, but I think they need him back real bad.
I got you. Well, I don't know if the Jacksonville Jaguars are so weird to me because they dominated the Patriots. I didn't watch the game, but the score wasn't very close. And then the Chiefs dominated them. I think they might have came back and got within 14 or something, but it was one of those things where it didn't really matter. And then, but for you fantasy-wise, as a fantasy owner, who's their backup running back they've been using? Oh, it's going to drive me nuts. I'm pretty sure he played.
TJ Yeldon.
Yeah, he's been pretty consistent, so maybe when Fournette gets back, they'll use him pretty similar.
Yeah,
But
I hope he does return because he was a tremendous asset to them.
Right. I was surprised. So, I didn't watch a lot. If there was an LSU game on, I knew how good he was in college, and I was like, okay, I'll watch this. And there were some games he really dominated, and then there was other games like the Alabama game where he was almost silent type thing. It wasn't he was just another player, if that makes sense. So when he came into the league, I was like, well, he could be a good running back. He's probably a little slow, blah, 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 blah. He could probably run over a few people. But, he came in. I know our defense was probably a bad example versus the run. But, he ran past all our defenders constantly when we played him the first time and the second time in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, he just ate him up. And the thing was, when he was his last year at LSU, he didn't play a lot of games. Because I know he didn't play in the bowl game because he skipped it.
Right. That's a weird situation. As a fan, if I was a fan at LSU, that'd be such a tricky situation because obviously you want the players always to play, and it's if they don't play, they're selfish. But if he got hurt, he could maybe never get back to where he would have been if he was healthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he would never get paid. And it's a weird, that whole dilemma, because I know even though Saquon Barkley played in like the Fiesta Bowl or whatever, like he was on a pitch count. Because I remember one time like he broke like a big play, and he got hit, and they just took him out for like 10 plays. Well, they didn't really need him because they were dominating whoever they were playing in the Fiesta Bowl, I think it was. Or maybe it was something else. I don't know. Do you remember last year who Penn State played? Penn State played.
I don't know. Washington might have been Washington. Might have been the guest ball.
Oh yeah, I think it was actually. I think that's it. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
But I don't blame him. I know the fans would be upset, but hey, you're looking at your future. If he had got hurt and really damaged that leg, who knows where he would have been?
No, I guess.
He wasn't even on the team.
Right. So the Eagles just got into the red zone off of Eli Manning pick. I think they're into the.
Which doesn't surprise me coming from Eli. I think his numbers. I think his days are done.
So like, okay, it's I always find it crazy how like he's the only quarterback to beat Tom Brady in a Super Bowl. Well, now Carson, or technically Nick Foles did, which he didn't. He did beat Tom Brady, but like those 2 years, it was like Eli played out of his mind, and then the other, let's say, I don't know if they say he'd been in the league 12 years. I think it's way more than that. But like the other 10 years, he was marginal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like he had those 2 big postseason runs, and the other times he's just been average to okay.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see if they do go quarterback next year in the draft, which I think they will.
I agree with you. I don't see them unless something. I think it would be a mistake not to. I mean, I don't understand. So, like with the rookie, salary or like the cap number on rookies, meaning like how like I think Sam Bradford was the last big. No. Matthew Stafford.
Bradford was the last.
I think it was actually
was the
Matthew
last one with the
Stafford.
big, or one of them two were the
Right,
last
yeah.
big contract.
And it was something
money
ridiculous. He was like getting
quarterbacks.
paid way more than like all these veterans that played in the league for years. They were much more reliable and stuff. So I get that number, but like, so it's only like 25 million for like 5 million a year for like a rookie quarterback or something. I think now, which is
Yeah.
much more reasonable.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
I feel like people. I can't really. I mean, besides like J.J. Watt and Jason Pierre-Paul, but I don't think Jason Pierre-Paul was a top 10 pick. I think he would. But like, even though like people were like get all gaga-eyed over like great defensive ends, they don't seem to like really pan out. I mean, I know quarterbacks don't pan out either, but it seems like I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
So do you think you'll go undefeated one more week?
It'll be tough this week. I don't have Kamara. I mean, I did pick up. Like I said, I picked up Wendell Smallwood for this week. So,
Right.
we'll see. I mean, he's got a good squad. I mean, I think I had my bad week. If you looked at the scores, had I played anyone else, I think there's a couple players that I might have outscored. If I played anyone else, I definitely would have lost.
No, I gotcha. Yeah. 2 weeks ago, Mike scored like 150 points. So I've like lost like 3 weeks in a row, unfortunately, I think, or maybe it's only been 2. But Mike scored like 150 points, and I scored like 120 something, and like I could have beat pretty much anyone else except for like one team. And I was like, this is ridiculous.
So I hope that's behind me, and I hope the scoring goes up next week for me.
I gotcha. So what's your 2 cents on the Packers? Do you think they'll bounce back, or do you think?
Oh, wow. I hope. I just don't. I don't know anymore with this team. I don't know if the air conditioner was on in the Ford Field that he missed those field goals because he's not that bad. He's a great kicker.
Right, he was the most accurate. He's the most accurate Packers kicker, correct?
Yeah.
So I mean,
I don't know. I just had basically they were playing great. Had they not turned the ball over in Detroit territory twice and led the easy touchdowns, and had he not missed those field goals, that'd have been a completely different ball game.
No, I gotcha. Was it on TV?
No, they had it was on Fox, but they had the Steelers Falcons game on.
No, I got you. And so around same time next week?
Yep, same time next week.
Sounds good. Bye.
All right, goodbye.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. What's going on with you?
Oh, not too much. You got another L last week, correct?
Yep, sure did. We're 1-4 now.
1-4.
things aren't looking too good.
Not looking too good.
No.
I wasn't gonna say you don't have any players tonight, correct? Well, it's a little too late if you did.
No, I don't think I do.
Yeah, that's no big deal. How did do you think you'll ever start Luck anytime soon?
I was thinking about it. I don't know. We've got the Jets this week. I mean, that might be a good thing there, you know.
Actually, I think Russell Wilson versus Oakland is going to be. I don't feel like Russell Wilson has a lot to throw to, but
What about Alex Smith against Carolina? What do you think about that one?
I
I don't know.
unfortunately, based off the way Alex Smith played last week, I mean, I know he might have played okay based off he had a rushing touchdown, but
Yeah.
I would just wait it out and see how it goes because I feel like I'd be too nervous to start him because if he crapped the bed again, I'd be like, this was pointless.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I had to take out someone's on a bye for me.
Michael Thomas, probably your best player.
Yeah, that's who it is. Michael Thomas. I had to take him out, and I put in who did I put in?
Did you put?
Sutton guy, I think.
Sutton.
From Denver, yeah.
No, I got you.
So I had to put him in there.
Did you play Josh Gordon last week? I don't think
No,
so.
I don't think I did. No,
Yeah,
no, I didn't. Did he do good or no?
he had a touchdown. So I mean, I think he had like 10+ points.
That's pretty good.
Right. Yeah. I think your matchup with AJ Green versus us, the Steelers. I think that's going to be pretty good for you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be a good one there. I don't know. What do you think of Steelers? Like, do you think? I mean, last week looked pretty good, but
I don't know. I feel like unfortunately more of the games versus like the Chiefs and the Browns and the Ravens is a little more of what we actually are, if that makes sense. I feel like
Yeah.
we give up too many big plays and we're inconsistent on offense. Now I have no idea why we made Atlanta's offense look so out of funk and we dominated most of the first half, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
second half, but I don't know. I think it's going to be a big game. I was talking to Chase about it a few calls ago. He said it's going to be a pretty physical game, which I agree with him. So we just have to. I just don't know which team is going to show up, if that makes sense. If the
Yeah.
team versus Atlanta and maybe Tampa Bay in the first half, then I'm okay. But if we come out and we can barely score, like 15 points, 14 points or something, I'm going to be like, what the hell is this?
yeah, yeah, I agree with you. It'll definitely be a physical game. We know that for sure because we hate Cincinnati and Cincinnati hates us back. So,
Right, yeah.
It'll be a fun one for sure.
Mm-hmm. I'm hopefully, so like Andy Dalton, he's my fantasy quarterback, and I'm still starting him versus the Steelers because I think we'll give up too much, big plays, which I think will be good for my fantasy team and it'll be good for us necessarily. But I feel like he's due for a game to kind of like play Andy Dalton style, and what I mean by that is he's been rather inconsistent at times. I mean, he can throw the ball very well. He can make all the plays. He just has turned it over consistently pretty often sometimes versus us.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true.
I remember it was like, no, I think unfortunately Andy Dalton was hurt and we played A.J. McCarron because I was going to say, I remember a few years ago they were up big on us. It was like maybe almost like a 14, 21-point lead, and then they couldn't do anything in the second half. So
I don't really remember that.
it was at Cincinnati. I remember it for some reason it was like a rainy game. I think it was not the year. It was 2 years ago, so not the year Shazier got hurt, if that makes sense. And this was just a regular season game.
Gotcha.
How do you like the Mountaineers this week?
I don't know. I mean, I'm a little nervous about it, to be honest with you. I know Iowa State's, they don't have a good record, but I don't know. I mean, I just think they're going to be a little bit tougher. Coming off a big win against Oklahoma State, it's a night game there. I mean, it's just got the setup for for a disaster for us. So I mean,
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's. I understand what you're saying. I think Iowa State is a very good opponent.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I still think. Let me say this. I still think we're going to win, though.
No, I understand.
I think it'll be a close game. It'll be a tight one, but I think we'll definitely come out of there with a win and be 6-0 and keep rolling, man. I don't know. This is crazy. I love it. This is a great year, you know.
Mm-hmm. Have you
This is
seen?
a very special year for us so far.
I think so, and I agree. Have you seen that stat that we're the only team that's never led? Excuse me, that's never trailed in a game.
Right, exactly.
The only
So, you
team.
know,
That's wild.
it's crazy. I mean, you know, I saw David Pollack on ESPN.
Oh,
He
Chase
said
was telling me
something-
about this. Yeah.
Yeah, he said something about how we haven't played anybody, and we're gonna, you know, once we play a team, we're gonna lose, and you know all this stuff. Which, you know, whatever, man. I mean, you know.
No, I
you-
guess I just don't. I don't agree. I feel like there's a lot of talented players on our defense. I feel like our
Oh,
defensive
yeah.
line's very good. I feel like
Yeah,
our
I think the
secondary
D-line
is
is
stepping
good.
up, and then I feel like our linebackers is probably our linebacker should be our weakest spot, but I feel like it's our
Yeah.
secondary. But the people
Yeah,
that
that's true.
so who got injured week 1,
Uh,
linebacker wise, it's gonna drive me nuts because I can't think of it now. But I think the people that have to come in and replace our other linebackers, I think they've stepped up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so far they have.
Right.
They played pretty good. You know, David Long's a beast. You know,
Mhm.
he's doing it for us. Reese Donahue, he's pretty good too. I mean, he holds his own. He doesn't like get in there and make too much noise, but you know, he does all right.
Right.
So, you know, I don't know. I mean, I think the defense is in a good spot right now. You know, we just gotta stay healthy and keep working at it. You know, I think they're all right.
No, I got you.
Now, offensive wise, you know, we're one of the best, man. You know, I mean, let me say, well, I mean, if Greer is on, we are.
Right.
You know, he had those interceptions down there, which in the red zone, which I don't know. I mean, that was just kind of, I think it was, well, I don't know. I kind of think it was a fluke, but I don't think it will. You know, I hope it doesn't happen again. But you know,
So he had 3 interceptions,
Some-
right, and maybe a fumble, or did he just have 3 interceptions?
I think it was just 3 interceptions. But someone was saying like, now defenses will be able to. I was talking to somebody, and they were like, now defenses will be able to see what they can do against us. You know, to stop us. Which
I don't.
you know, I don't know.
I don't really agree. I understand why someone would maybe say that, but I feel
Yeah.
like that's coming from someone that's maybe wasn't watching as close, because the
Yeah.
3rd interception was a complete fluke. Like everyone thought that was like when you watch the replay in slow motion, you could tell it was a pick, but like it was supposed to be an incomplete pass, no big deal, and then it got picked off.
Right.
But the first 2 that he threw in the red zone, it was just kind of like, why are you throwing the ball there? It wasn't like the
Yeah.
defense were doing anything like crazy. It wasn't like this defense that he's probably never seen before. He either was too confident or almost borderline lazy. He was like, I'll just
Yeah.
throw it here. I can make this throw. And then he wasn't able to make the throw.
I think that's kind of a problem because he relies on our receivers to do a heck of a lot. You know,
Mhm.
which sometimes they come up with a play, but a lot of times, you know, or sometimes they don't. You know,
Right.
so I don't know. He expects Sills every time he throws it to him, he'll catch it, which you know he pretty much does.
Right, yeah.
But you know, I don't know. So I think we're in a good spot. I think Iowa State will give us a little test, and you know, but ultimately we'll keep moving forward there, 6-0.
No, I agree with you. All right, same time next week.
All right, man. I'll catch you later.
Hey, bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Hey, what's up?
Not much, man. Not much.
So you won last week, correct?
Yeah,
Easy
I
W.
beat Team Irvin pretty handily.
Oh, wait, no, I thought you
Despite,
played Alex. My fault. Okay, you did play, you played Mike?
I don't know if it's Mike. I
Yeah, you
guess
played
it's
Mike.
But yeah, I was able to beat him even though I had a wide receiver not score any points. Of course, his defense didn't score any points, and he had a pretty cold output there from his receivers. They didn't do anything. So I
Did-
got behind Gurley and Mahomes and kind of let them take care of business.
Right.
Galladay had a good day.
I gotcha. That's been huge. Like that. So obviously, I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I feel like Alex would, blatantly take Gurley now if he knew the situation. But like for you, that's been a huge pickup at number 2 overall. Because I feel like
yeah.
he's got you like 15, 20 points every game, correct?
Oh, he's he's great.
Right. Yeah.
He's the number one. I mean, the number one guy.
Right.
Number one, running back. I don't know. I think he's gotten almost 20 every game. I think.
I
If
got
he
you.
hasn't gotten 20, it's been darn close. So
Are you giving?
quick point there.
Yeah. Sorry. Are you giving Dalvin Cook another shot?
You know, I'm gonna keep him. I'm gonna keep his roster spots for him here for a little while, but
No, I
I'm
got you.
not done. I'm not done with him. I just can't figure it out. Luckily, I got James White, so
No, I got you.
he's kind of filling in there a little bit. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what I'm gonna do with this Quincy Unyawa or whatever his name is.
No, I understand.
No output last week at all. I'm gonna have to figure out what I want to do.
Did he have any? Well, no, he couldn't have, because he got you 0 points, correct?
He got 0 points. Yeah. I'm thinking about moving Galladay to my second wide receiver spot, and then I need to get T.J. Yeldon involved somehow. So I might make him my flex guy.
No, I got
But,
you.
You know, I got Demarius Thomas on the bench too, and he's kind of hit or miss. I think TJ's or not. Yeah, T.J. Yeldon. I think he's a little bit more reliable at this point. I mean, I think he's top 15. Well, definitely top 15. He may be pretty close to top 10 running back at this point.
No, I got you. You got a bunch of good options because, like, Keenan Allen, he's an easy number one. I know he's been inconsistent, but he's not. And from what I've paid attention to in the past with Demarius Thomas this season, Demarius Thomas has done nothing except for last week. And then it's like, who do you start at running back because you have James White and you put him at flex, but then it seems wild to leave, Keenan Allen off. But I mean, who's your? Oh, you said then you put Galladay as your number 2, and then Tyreek Hill and Galladay would be your receivers, and then you would put.
No. Right. Well, this week that's at Galladay. I can't. I mean,
Correct. No, I understand the situation, but yeah.
But yeah, generally you're right. Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do this week. I've got that Cook in there right now, Dalvin Cook, but I'm not going to leave him there. I need to.
No, I got
I
you.
just don't know what to do, man. And
Well, I mean,
need to get a defense. I'm getting tired of the Browns.
I mean, they only left 9 points last week, correct?
Yeah.
Because it was 9 to 12.
They were services. Well, I got 8 points out of them, but yeah, they gave up 9 points.
No, I got you.
Now the week before they gave up 39. So
Oh, that's didn't they get you like negative something?
yeah, they lost it like 3 or 4 points. So.
Which is yeah. I mean, there's a few
Can't
more.
tolerate that.
The team you're playing, she dropped the Eagles defense. I'm not really sure why, but she did. And there's a few other maybe defenses, and maybe with the Eagles, and I don't know who is on our waiver wire at the moment, to be dead honest with you, but I understand why the Browns would be kind of frustrating to rely on.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to pull the trigger on the Dolphins. In fact, I may do that while we're talking here. They play in Chicago this week
There you go.
at home, so I think I'm probably going to go with the Dolphins, and they've been a top 5 defense fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I'm sitting pretty good. I haven't looked at the standings to see how I'm doing as far as points, but
So so Travis is first in your division, and you're second. And in my
I'm fourth
division,
in points.
my boss is second, and Giles is first.
Giles has a pretty good team.
Mm-hmm. I mean, your team's not bad, Drew. I don't know how you lost. So did I beat you? I didn't beat you, did I?
I don't remember who. I had a couple bad matchups in a row. I think. Let's see.
Maybe you lost to Giles week 1?
I don't remember. Let me go back and look here. I don't know how I lost. I lost to Shreve, your boss,
Okay.
in week 1 by 6, which was a close game. And then I
Right,
beat DJ, and then Travis beat me.
Well, okay, so my boss's team is not too bad. I wanted to kick his ass, to be dead honest with you. But
Right.
Travis's team, I know Travis's team somehow lost the game, but Travis's team is like the last 3 games has scored over 100 points every week. So, I mean,
Yeah, he's the points leader.
right, yeah.
Now it looks like I'm in 4th in the points. Looks like Giles is basically between Giles, your boss, and me. There's 7 points that separate us in terms of what we've scored,
No, I got you.
and then you got almost 500 points.
I got you. Real quick, did you
and
see?
Mike are pretty close.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I apologize. Did you see the stat? I think ESPN showed it or something. I don't watch anything else besides ESPN. But that Bill Belichick is like 25-0 against quarterbacks like under the age of 25.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was like, jeez.
I'm pretty interested to see what's going to happen there.
I'd like to see
I,
who was on that list, like how many of those
Yeah.
players actually panned out.
I don't know. That would be interesting. to
Because
know
I
if
can't
we
remember,
were
was it
talking
just a
about-
regular season matchup or was it counting playoffs?
I think it was just regular season. Pretty sure it's just regular. I don't know that for sure though. But somebody, I was listening to radio today. I like to listen to Mark Madden.
Okay.
I think there was somebody on there who was saying that. So I mean, it is pretty remarkable. I mean, he just, and I don't know how much of that's Brady and how much of that's Belichick's scheme. I mean, I think Belichick, the strategy isn't necessarily to, disrupt just the quarterback. I mean, they
No, I
always
understand,
kinda
yeah.
go after the wide receiver. I mean, they just tell the linebacker, oh, hey, you find Travis Kelsey and you hold him every play.
Right.
Now the ref's not going to call hold every play.
Mm-hmm.
He'll call it 4 or 5 times a game, but who cares? You're not giving up a big play.
Correct,
And
yeah.
I think that's kind of the Belichick philosophy there, that and cheating by spying on practices. But aside from the spying, I think the thing is just let's make manageable. Let's turn big plays into manageable things that we can kind of absorb. And
No, that makes sense. Like the dink and dunk type thing.
I'd rather not have a big splash play and just let you get 10 yards on a holding penalty, and then maybe your guy will throw an interception and get pissed off, or maybe I'll
No, I got you.
maybe I'll just take the signals and know what play's coming. So,
Which Steeler team do you think is going to show up on Sunday versus the Bengals?
well, that's a good question, Ben. I really don't know. Anytime that they play the Bengals, it's like a freaking riot in the jail. So,
I know, yeah.
I mean, the Pac-Man's not involved this year, so
Burfict
kinda
came
like-
back. Excuse me, Burfict he was on a 4-game suspension. I thought he was a free agent, but maybe he wasn't. And he played for them last week, but they went down like 17-0 to the Dolphins, but then they rallied back to 27-17 to beat them. So I'm not really sure which defense is going to show up versus us, but I don't know which offense is going to show up for us either.
I don't either. I mean, how many games have they won in a row? The Bengals, like 6 or 7.
I'm not sure, to be
It's been-
dead honest with
It's
you.
been a long time since they beat us.
Right.
Now I think that they can run the ball. I think Connor can run it on him. I don't know about Ben throwing it. I mean, he did okay last game. He's had good and bad games.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just what we're going to see from Ben here going forward with the age on him.
I got you.
I'll tell you, with the Steelers, what I'm really concerned about is Antonio Brown and his odd behavior. I mean, the
Yeah.
Lev Bell thing, it's over with. He's gone. I've moved on from Lev. I mean, he's not coming back.
Right.
Even if he does come back,
He's not
They're not
signing
gonna
next
move
year.
him.
Right. Yeah.
no, everyone's talking now like they're going to trade him to Philadelphia, which I'd be surprised if that happened. But,
Right.
because it makes more sense for them to go get like LaShawn McCoy back.
Mm-hmm. Much
Anyhow.
cheaper.
Yeah, right. Anyhow, AB's just strange, man. I mean, this lawsuit thing going on where he's throwing, out of his, 14th or 15th floor window, and it's just he's acting like a totally different guy. He doesn't want to talk to the media. He's a dick to them.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like it's so
I mean, it's weird.
maybe it was something we should have saw coming because I think so you remember I think this was like 2 playoffs ago. So it was the year we made it to the AFC Championship and the Patriots blew us out. The game before he was on Facebook Live during like a post game, locker talk,
I
which
remember
was
that
very
Facebook
weird.
Live thing. Yeah,
And-
that was stupid.
And then there was something he did like the next year or something.
Well, he's just made very strange decisions all the way through it.
Mhm.
Really starting since that Facebook Live thing. That was the first time I kind of thought, and that was after he got paid.
Oh, I realized. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I remember what I was thinking. Do you remember the year? I think this was a regular season game, and I think it was unfortunately the Shazier hit game versus Cincinnati. And Juju had that interview, and they're like, "Hey, was that a dirty play, whatever?" And then AB was
Yeah,
just
they
screaming
cracked
karma
up.
in the background.
Yeah, he hit perfect. Juju
Yeah.
blocked perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know if he gave a concussion or what he did.
I think
Maybe
Burfict
not.
came back, but I mean, he still could have had a concussion.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just don't know what's going on with AB, and I think it's a distraction, you know. So,
Well,
but I'll throw this other one here at you, Ben. Let me
Okay.
throw this at you. So, you know, the NFL, there's this, everyone's saying, oh, I don't want to watch the games because of the kneeling thing.
mm-hmm.
Would you believe that twice as many people watched Monday Night Football as a Major League Baseball playoff game?
Oh,
Now,
I
this
believe
is
that
just a
easily.
regular season Monday Night Football game
Mm-hmm.
and a playoff game in Major League Baseball.
Wait,
I mean that.
Wait, the Major League
Baseball
Baseball playoffs are going on?
Yeah. Oh, hey, you don't know? Oh, well. Hey.
Yeah. Oh, okay,
Yeah, The
okay.
way I said that was goofy. I'll give you that. But
No.
you know,
I
they-
was saying that because based off the ratings.
right,
Because
no
I
one
understand.
cares, you know?
Right. I mean,
It's just fallen so far. You know, it just. I like baseball. Okay, when Pirates are good, but just too much of a time commitment for me to sit down and watch a game for 6 hours. I mean, geez.
Right.
I don't want to. Yeah, that's a bit of an exaggeration. It's more like 3.5 or 4, but still.
I think baseball doesn't have like, so like hockey has some hits and then scoring, obviously. Football, there's hits and scoring. And then even basketball, there's like dunks and then like the score can go crazy high and stuff like that or blocks. But baseball only has like home runs. And if you don't have any of those, people aren't really interested in a
Yeah,
a line
there's-
drive to center field or something.
There's in most of the other main, I don't know what you want to call them, Power 4, Major 4 sports leagues in North America.
Right.
There's always, in 3 of them, there's always action.
Correct.
Like things are happening, the ball's moving this way, the puck's going that way.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball is really just kind of a one-on-one. One guy, your pitcher's going against your batter.
Mm-hmm.
He may or may not hit it.
Right.
He's going to stop and get out and mess with his gloves, and then he's going to step back in, and then he's going to get out, spit, and then he's going to think about hitting it. And then, I don't know if the analytic stuff has helped baseball or hurt it. I would say it's made it easier to be a GM, or maybe a little better to be a GM in baseball. But, when people figure out, oh, well, this guy only hits it to the right, so we're going to shift to the right, and he'll never get a hit. So, I mean, it's just,
I feel like that might help that certain team, but to get like casual viewers, they don't want to see that. They don't want to turn in and see a guy pop out to left field or right field and then he's out and it was pointless. You know what I mean?
it's like, we know that 4 times out of 6, when this guy hits the ball, it's a grounder to the right side. Let's just shift. We'll just shift right. It's over. So, I mean, it is what it is. And if you're really into baseball, then that's probably really exciting for you to see where they shift. But for the casual viewer, which is me,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care.
Right. Yeah.
You're right. I want to see home runs. If I don't see them, I guess I'll watch the NBA until that's over.
Yeah. It's like but no, I think that's a very good point. I mean, the kneeling situation, I think when people hear the kneeling situation, that's all they hear. If that makes sense, people don't really go.
Well, it's so polarized. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I mean, you're either on one side or the other. But, it seems to me that, if twice as many people watched a football game versus a playoff baseball game,
Right.
apparently no one cares and they forget it. Really, the only thing that happened out of that was Colin Kaepernick got paid with a Nike deal.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, nothing's changed. I mean, so, I don't know. It is what it is. But,
No, I got you. Real quick, what's your take on this Saturday's game versus Iowa State? Not take, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
About it. I don't know what to quite expect. I would think that they should win the game. I haven't looked at the spread. Do you know what it is?
I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't usually look at that stuff. Sometimes
get
it depends on the. If I got more into gambling, which I might in the past few months when it's legalized in every state a little better,
Yeah, it's kind of fun to check out.
right, yeah. But like,
Go ahead. Sorry, I'll tell
but
you.
sometimes like I just watch games and like if I watch certain players or watch, so number 18 for Iowa State is going to be a big problem for us. He is going to dominate. He's a wide receiver. He's huge. He's like, well, he's not. this sounds stupid after saying he's huge. He's like a small Calvin Johnson in terms of body frame. He might be the same height. He may be able to do a few. He's kind of. Oh, I'm just going with that. He's like a small Calvin Johnson. He could be a problem for us.
He's got an 18-inch hand. He's 6'6", 225 pounds. In case you're wondering.
He's going to be.
Butler is the name.
Yes.
Yeah, he'll be a beast. I'm nervous about it.
No, I got you.
I don't know what to think. Spread 6.5, by the way. We're favored. It just depends on which Mountaineer team. Well, not really which Mountaineer team shows up because we've dominated.
Correct.
We
Yeah.
haven't we haven't trailed in the game, so that's
Mhm.
kind of dumb to say. Depends. Depends on how Iowa State too, how they want to come out and play. It really we should handle them pretty well. I mean, there's no other way really to put it. I mean, Iowa State will hang in. They hung in there against Oklahoma.
Right. I think
They
they've
almost
always
beat
played
TCU.
hard. Like they've never necessarily maybe the first year we were in the Big 12 or something. Like Iowa State wasn't. It wasn't a big deal. But the past, let's say 4 years, maybe 3, they've always played us very tough. I mean, we've won in the end, but they've always played us very tough, and they play other teams. They're improving throughout the past few years. Excuse me. So I mean,
They've gotten better. Yeah, they've gotten better. I agree. It
No.
just is what it is. And this Nolan guy they have, I don't know anything about him. They had that Kemp was his name, I think, the other guy. And
oh yeah, Mike was telling me about this
He got
freshman
hurt.
they have now. Or-
yeah, Zeb, guy's name's like Zeb Noland or Reb. I don't know. I can't remember his name, but it's Noland is his last name, and he's playing pretty well. And Kemp was going to be their guy, and then he got hurt. So Matt Campbell's a good coach, and their record's not very good this year. It's 2-3, but they've been in most of their games and they've battled. So I think it's going to be tough, especially since it's out there. Now, if you can't beat Iowa State, you don't have any chance at all winning the Big 12. So
No, I got you.
we got to. I just don't know what to think, man. I just don't know, man, if we're going to be a serious contender or if it's all going to fall away here. So.
I think so. This is going to sound so. It depends. So, what do you mean by serious contenders? To me, serious contender. I think we're both talking about. We should be very, very close to eligible. We should be in the conversation for the Final Four for the college football playoffs. Is that what you could call a contender?
Well, as far as the whole playoff goes, I don't think that's going to happen unless we are undefeated.
Correct.
And I think you could win the Big 12 and not be undefeated.
Right.
So, I'm kind of just holding off on the playoff talk. I think that's kind of far-fetched at this point. I don't think it's going to happen. I just want to win the Big 12. I think that would be a great accomplishment for this team and the program.
No, I totally agree. I think that would
And-
be big recruiting-wise for us.
Yeah, I mean, they could do it. They just have to finish in the top 2 to have a shot. So, I mean, Texas and Oklahoma, you control your own destiny at this point. Texas also controls their own destiny. So, we just got to wait and see what happens, man. I don't know. I would like to see them at least finish third. If they don't,
I think
top 2.
I think top 2. If we're not, I think third would be almost a little bit of a disappointment because I feel like we're different this year in terms of a West Virginia team. Like we're beating the teams that we should. We're continuing to hold the lead. Right. Yeah.
Man. If it's going to happen, it's going to have to happen here. This is your best window for the foreseeable future. I mean, I don't know who we got after Will, but it ain't Will Greer.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
But it was good talking to you, and around the same time next week.
All right, man. We'll see you.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Bye.
What's up?
Oh, not too much. How are you?
Not bad. Just glad the week's about over.
No, I feel you. This week we play each other. I'm not looking forward to the matchup with Matt Ryan versus Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Do you have any other Falcons? No, I don't think so.
Nah, I'm putting Breeze on the bench because he's on a bye, obviously.
Right,
so-
yeah, I got you.
But he he had a nice week. He had a nice game Monday night. Got me ahead of Alex, so I picked up a win.
Right.
Probably kept me in playoff contention, I guess, for now.
No, I got you. You're in the other division, right? You're not in mine.
Correct.
I got you. Yeah. I think I've lost. I think I've lost 2 in a row, but I'm not sure. But in theory, I'm still in it. I just feel like I need to start picking up some more wins, and other people need to lose. But we'll just see how it goes. Did you try to pick up anyone this week?
I don't think I picked anybody up this week. Last week I got D.D. Westbrook for Jacksonville and Robert Woods.
Oh,
And
I
of
think
course-
I don't know why Alex dropped him. I think he's a very I don't know if he's inconsistent, but he was like a breakout player last year, and then he's been very consistent this year. I think. Did he do
Yeah, they
okay
had,
last week?
Cup had an injury, and the other receiver for them got hurt, so
No, I got you.
he was pretty much all they had out of their starting receiving core.
No, I got you.
So I think he had a pretty solid week too this past week.
Do you think you would think about starting Jamal Williams or Kenyon Drake?
I'm
Well-
trying to think who I have in there for this week.
You have Mike
Zeke.
Davis. So Zeke's obviously that. Well, I mean, I guess it is Jacksonville, but you're not starting Zeke. You have Mike
Right.
Davis versus Oakland, which I have the other running back for Seattle. So I hope.
Yeah, you got Carson.
Right.
He's probably going to get the majority of the snaps. I don't know. I thought Williams would be a good potential pick. He played.
I think it's like first 2 weeks he did well for you, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. They're like Green Bay's kind of in a bad place with their offense right now. I don't think they know what they're doing, and
Which I don't have a problem with at all.
he's not right. He's not put up a big week really since I've got him. But,
I think you picked
I'm
up.
search-
Sorry.
Go ahead.
You picked up Graham Gano because he was a free agent
Yeah,
still.
I had somebody on a bye this week, Prater.
Yeah. Okay.
I dropped him. Yeah, he had that big field goal last weekend, 63
Correct, yeah.
yarder,
I think he had like
Which
19
is it?
points.
which is pretty much insane unless you're in Denver.
Correct,
Other than
yeah.
that, it's
No, I got you.
pretty wild.
I picked up. So I don't have. I traded my tight end, a quarterback, and a wide receiver to Alex, and so I didn't have a backup tight end. So I picked up Greg Olson this week because he's projected to start or play at least. But I don't.
Yeah.
I'm never going to start him over Kelsey necessarily. But
Yeah, I have him in my money league, and I actually drafted George Kittle, and I traded Kittle to get Carlos Hyde and Crabtree just
Mhm.
because I needed a second running back. But I didn't realize he played with that Beathard that's starting for them in college, so they've got like a connection there from
Oh.
Iowa.
no, I got you. Yeah.
So I got Olsen this week in my money league. I'm just hoping he stays healthy.
Right. Yeah. Based on
So
So to the point, like I'm never going to start him over Kelsey most likely unless that we play them, and because
Right.
we give up a lot of points to tight ends.
yeah,
But
he's
so,
a
like,
nice
I'm just-
play. He's a nice play though because Carolina really doesn't have any receivers besides, I guess, Funchess, if you want to consider him an option.
right, yeah. The DJ Moore, has he panned out for them at all? Didn't you draft him?
Yeah, I drafted him. He's not done anything really of note that I can remember.
No, I got you.
So.
Which Steeler team is going to show up versus Cincinnati on Sunday?
Well, I'll kind of just wind it up into both of them together and say, this is really judgment weekend
For both teams, yeah.
for both of these teams.
Mhm.
The Steelers, I was expecting them to win last weekend, which I was kind of surprised how dominant they were defensively. They were good. I still think Atlanta, I'm sorry, has a pretty stout offense.
Right. I don't
And
understand how Julio Jones. I apologize for interrupting you. I'm pretty bad
No,
at that
that's
at
fine.
times, but I don't understand how Julio Jones hasn't scored a touchdown yet. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Something's not right there.
Right, yeah.
But that was an expected win, but the way they won was more impressive, I think, than anything else.
Right.
And now you've got a chance to go into Cincinnati. I think everybody, I take that back, Cleveland beat Baltimore last week.
Right, which is
and,
big for us.
I think Cincinnati won.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken.
They were down 17-0 to the Dolphins, and then the final score was 27-17 Bengals.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this is you've got a chance here now going into the bye week next weekend to kind of grab control of what you've lost in the first couple weeks and beat Cincy, who I'm assuming is the division leader. I don't have the standings in front of me, but
They should be. They're 5-1. They've
to go out there and win and get a game up above 500 and go into the bye week and rest up. I mean, it's huge. I think it's going to be a turning point game for the rest of the season. And as far as WVU goes, this was a game I picked them to lose early before the season started. I had them losing 3 games. NC State, which we didn't play, Iowa State, and then at Texas. If they win Saturday, I'll be kind of surprised, and I think they're on their way to being I guess whatever you want to call it, a top 5, top 10 team. I think Saturday's the difference between us playing on New Year's and us playing in the Toys R Us Bowl on December 9th. So
No, I understand.
big weekend for both programs there.
Mm-hmm. So with the Steelers, I think, and maybe you think the same thing, I feel like the game versus Cleveland and the game versus the Chiefs and the game versus Baltimore is maybe more what we shouldn't be that, but I feel like that's more of what we actually are, if that makes sense.
Right.
And then, but for the Mountaineers, with the Mountaineers, I feel pretty confident about us this year. I do feel that, Iowa State will play us pretty tough because they have played us pretty tough in the past few years. Somehow I think people have tried to market it as a rival. I don't think they're an actual rival. Yes, I do think they play us tough. Are they close games usually? But I don't think the teams hate each other. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
there's no bad blood.
Yeah, I think they're trying to make something up that really isn't there. They're the closest team to us geographically, and I mean, I don't see it.
Right,
But,
yeah.
They've got a history of knocking off the top half of the Big 12. They beat Oklahoma last year.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Oklahoma's still got in the playoff, but that's because they're Oklahoma. And then I want to say back maybe the year Bama and LSU played for it all, they beat Oklahoma State, and they were Oklahoma State's only loss. And Oklahoma State was kind of that team on the fringe of. I don't know if that we had the playoff going on then or not, but it kept Oklahoma out of the national title. Oklahoma State out of the national title, talk. So
Do you remember who was on the team? Because if it was Brandon Whedon and Des Bryant's team, then that would have been well before that. But I don't know if that's as far back as you're talking about.
I know Randall was one of the running backs that was on Dallas, and I guess now he's in jail or in trouble with the law. Julius
Okay.
Randall, maybe.
Okay, I kind of remember, but I don't remember him in college. But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he was on that team, and then I want to say maybe you're right with the quarterback being Whedon.
So
But-
was Dana still there then?
No, he'd have been with us.
He's
He
with us.
started with us in 2011, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so that would have been after that. But yeah, they've got a history of beating the top team in the Big 12 or pulling an upset. And if you look back at their losses, I mean, they're 2-3. Every game they lost was fairly close. I mean, They
Right.
played Oklahoma tight, TCU tight. So I mean, I'm probably more concerned this weekend than I have been of course, the schedule's not been all that difficult.
Right. So with this team, I think I'm sure you've read the stat or seen the stat that like we are the only team in the country that's led, every game so far and never trailed or
Right.
never trailed, I should say.
Right.
But I don't think that says everything, obviously, but I feel like it says a lot if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So I feel like we're pretty consistent, which is different from
Right.
W
Right.
teams in the past.
I think it's kind of. I don't know how we're going to respond when we're down. That kind of bothers me that we haven't really faced that kind of adversity yet this year. How are we gonna respond if we get down by 10 or 14 or whatever? Hopefully we won't have that problem, but it's always a possibility. How are you gonna respond to that?
Right. And so this is going to sound like a pointless statement, but if that did happen Saturday and we did come back and win, I think that's like a huge confidence builder. Like, oh, we've been in this situation before versus so and so or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
We can
Right.
do it again. We did it then. We can do it now.
Yeah. This game this weekend, like I say, for both, WVU and the Steelers, it's going to say a lot about where everybody's at at the end of the year when it matters. So I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess you could say, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got beat.
I hope not. I see it's both games. It's very possible.
The Kansas game was disheartening. The interceptions on the goal line, and it seemed like in the second half he was so afraid to throw another pick that everything ended up being a coverage sack, and they got us. It seemed like 8 or 10 times they sacked him because he wouldn't get rid of the ball.
I think with the first two interceptions, like I think that he was either too. I was telling Alex this. He was either too confident, or like borderline lazy. He's like, well, I can make this throw. It's no big deal. But like the first one, he threw right to the defender. The second one, I unfortunately cannot remember. And then the third one was complete fluke. Like it should have been an incomplete pass, and it wasn't. And it was an interception.
Yeah, one of them was like a punt almost.
Right. But
Yeah.
the third one that was like bounced off someone's knee, or something weird. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
It wasn't an interception, but it should have been an incomplete pass in terms of it should
Right.
just hit the ground, been over, but it didn't.
Yeah.
So, same time next week.
Yeah, sounds good, buddy.
Sounds good. See you then.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Hey, bud.
Hey, what's up? So last week, obviously, we played, and then your team dominated the score for a majority of the day. My team technically did come back, but I mean, it was just a complete shit show Monday night for my running back. But this week, you play my buddy Travis, and I mean, he's already got Saquon with 14.7 points. I mean, he's been scoring like over 100 points in the past 3 weeks. He's doing pretty well. Right now, the projection's like you're only down projected five less than he is. But what do you like about your team this week?
I mean, I've got several people right now that are scoring above what they get calculated to score. Normally, AB goes over, Connor goes over. I think they'll probably put up big numbers against Cincinnati. At least AB for sure, because Cincinnati's secondary is a little iffy.
This doesn't sound goofy. I think you have AB in your other league. You have Connor in our league.
I keep doing that.
No, it's not a big deal. Do you think
I got
Julio Jones is
Juju.
finally going to score
I
versus
got
Tampa?
Juju. I don't know, man. He should. Their secondary sucks.
Are you going to start Mike Evans this week instead of Corey Davis?
See, I'm kind of on the fence there. Davis had that one bust out week, and
Mhm.
he was kind of average this past week. So I think I need to go back to Evans.
No, I got you. And then, so Connor's obviously, you're not going to start any other running backs. You're worried.
No, Connor's the man.
Right, yeah. I should, that was so awful like 2 weeks ago. Or not 2 weeks ago, at the beginning of the season. I should have had him. Which
Yeah,
Steeler,
that was literally like
which were in like 2 minutes of each other. It was such bullshit. Which Steeler team is going to show up on Sunday?
Oh God, I hope the one that played the Falcons. I really do. I think it will, but they're so up and down this season. It's anybody's guess.
So the thing that bothers me, so the Browns game, the Chiefs game, and then the Ravens game, the 3 games that we've lost, or the 1 we tied and the 2 we lost. I feel unfortunately like a lot of those games showed more of what we're going to be this year than the win versus Tampa or the win versus the Falcons.
The thing is, the Falcons game showed what we can be. And
Correct,
all
yeah.
Phases played together. It showed the talent. It showed the play calling, creativity of the coordinators, including the special teams coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
And it showed the talent, like, to potentially achieve a goal on a weekly basis. But they're just that team that they can't, once things start going bad, they fall apart. Like, they just got to stay focused and stay on track. They're not a team it seems to be able to mess up halfway through a game and then recoup. If they stay on track, they're good to go. But the second something starts to fall off the rails, they just seem to fall apart this year. It's just really weird.
Yeah, so last year we were like these, like the comeback kids all the time, and that was fun in terms of like the season. The end of the season it was pointless. I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguar game pretty much showed, the playoff game pretty much showed us what we should have been all season, but we got lucky because our offense would put up 30 points in the end or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like I just want us to be more consistent, and I hope we can do something like that versus Cincinnati. But it's just a wait and see, I guess. Unfortunately.
I just think right now we're not a very consistent team, and the talent's there, but it needs to come together. And again, like I said, the Falcons game was a prime example of when things come together, what we're capable of.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I feel the same way you do. I'm not sure they're going to do that on a consistent basis throughout the season.
I got you. We talked about this the last time we were on. Like the Bell situation. Do you think it's ever? Well, obviously, depending on what we would get. Have you completely went on the side where you're like, well, let's just trade him, get what we can? Or are you, to me, I am blinded by faith that he's just going to somehow, come back, everything's going to be okay, and somehow maybe he could be on the team next year. But
I don't think he's going to be on the team next year, but I think there's still potential for him to be valuable this season, especially if they go on a run. Having 2 running backs of that quality,
right,
going into the playoffs could make us a very dangerous team.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if they can coexist in the backfield. It's very, he could come back and completely screw up what chemistry they have built. My thing is, if they can get a 2nd or a 3rd rounder for him and maybe a decent defensive player from a team like Philadelphia that's really needing a running back right now, I would go for it in a heartbeat, but that is a lot to ask for.
Right.
I wouldn't do it for just a 3rd round draft pick. I don't think that's enough.
No, I remember that was like when it first started, the Steelers were thinking about trading him or would listen to offers. It was like everyone was saying a 3rd round pick, and
that's why they said no. They don't think it's enough either.
Right. And it's like, well, this is no, why would you? And then I think the last report that came out, not recently, this was like 2 weeks ago, that the Steelers wanted like a 2nd round pick and a good player. And I mean, I guess obviously it always depends on the player and how they pan out and stuff. But we've talked about this through text once in a while. But I feel like Bell, he's a tad slow. That's the only really big issue besides injuries and character issues maybe. But he can do everything better than almost everyone at the running back position, and he's better than half the wide receivers.
He's a transcendent player, and the problem is he knows that. That's the biggest problem.
Right, for us at least.
He
Yeah.
knows how good he is.
Mm-hmm.
So he's demanding the money that is equivalent to his talents, and that's hard. When a guy and a team can't come together, it happens. It's not the first time throughout the history of the league this has happened. It happens.
Right.
Every 5 to 10 years, you get a big-time player like this that holds out. There's been big-time players that have held out for almost entire seasons before, so it's not the first time. It just sucks that it's us right now.
Right, yeah. Okay, so I have a prediction for you. So, to your point, Bell comes back, we get together, we make the playoffs. Somehow, do you think we could beat the Patriots in week 13, week 15, whenever it is, week 12, something like that?
Absolutely, we can. We can bend. We can beat anybody. We have the talent to beat anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is the Patriots are so well coached and schemed
Mm-hmm.
that it's not that we get beat by the talent of the players, we get out schemed and out coached by the Patriots.
Correct. I get, because I remember the last year's game, the Jesse James catch. It was the final. Well, the drive the Patriots had the ball and needed to score. They just put Gronk in a bunch of these, like they flexed him out or just put him in these one-on-one situations, and Sean Davis just couldn't play him one-on-one. I mean, that's totally understandable. No one could pretty much play him one-on-one, but why didn't we just double him once in a while? They didn't have any really They didn't have anyone at the time that could probably beat us besides him. Maybe Edelman was in the game. No, he was hurt.
No, he was hurt.
Yeah, I guess.
No, that was their best option. We just, again, that goes back to allowing yourself to be out-coached and out-schemed. There were other ways to cover him. I don't know if we were being stubborn or what, but it wasn't. What we were doing was not working, and they just made us look bad.
And then, have you noticed this? I know I'll read stuff on Twitter from like Pittsburgh reporters once in a while, and they'll get on it. Have you noticed, like, okay, not counting that Patriots game because they technically did had a huge catch at the end of the game. Have you noticed in like big games, Juju doesn't really play well, or he's quiet? Like against very good opponents, because like he didn't do anything versus Baltimore, correct?
I'd have to go back and look. I thought he had a good game versus Baltimore, but I don't know if it was an explosive game.
No, I
in
guess
his comparison.
Compared to this year, at least.
Nobody had a good game in the second half of that game, so that's kind of you could blame everybody. He wasn't the only one to play bad in the second half. Everybody did, and I don't know. I mean, I think he's had a solid season so far, but his particular games, I'm not pinpointing whether. I think he's had a decent game every game, but I don't know the exact statistics of each game, to be honest.
I was just trying to think because, like, I was thinking about the Jacksonville Jaguar playoff game, and that technically was his rookie season, so you can maybe get a pass for that. So it's not. I'm just trying to think of things
Honestly,
to talk about. I'm not.
I think overall he has been phenomenal for as young as he is. You got to remember he's still only 21. He had almost 1,000 yards in his rookie season, which is unheard of for a rookie receiver.
Right. Yeah.
And he's playing with arguably the best receiver in the league. He had that production. So I think he's a great player, and I think he's only going to continue to get better. You're going to have bad games now and then. But
Right.
I don't think he's had a bad game yet, in my opinion. He's been our most productive offensive weapon so far.
This
other than
season,
maybe
yeah.
Connor. But, I mean, really, he probably has been the most consistent. Connor may have had bigger games, but he's only really had 2 good games. The other 3 games, he kind of disappeared. So you could say Juju's been our most consistent weapon throughout the season so far.
Right, because I remember the first game versus the Browns, Juju had like something weird, like 97 yards, but he had like 3 catches only or something weird. But he played very well. And then the second game versus the Chiefs, I think he performed again, but I can't remember because that game was such a. What is your take on Mahomes? Like
on
Patrick Mahomes for the Chiefs.
So far, he's looking pretty phenomenal. He's not giving me any reason not to like him yet. I wish, sure as hell, that I drafted him because he's putting up like 30 points a game.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I think eventually it might start slowing down. People get a little more film on him and start, doing stuff to rattle him. But the kid's got an arm and a half, and he seems to be pretty good at reading defenses. So if you got an arm that strong and you're patient and you can read a defense, you're going to be successful.
Right. I can't remember.
He has got Aaron Rodgers' arm with more mobility, so that is
Right.
dangerous.
Yeah. I remember I've seen clips of like him where he'll throw the ball like it's like 75. It's in like practice or something, but he's done it in warm-ups before
He's
games.
always had the arm strength. The big knock on him coming out of college was
I think he was inconsistent.
run and gun offense, and he was inconsistent. They weren't sure if he could play under center, but they've done a great job refining his throwing motion so it's a little quicker. He gets the ball out quicker now. He doesn't fart around with it, and the kid's got a cannon. I think he's going to be a legit Pro Bowl type player for years to come.
I think the only. I'm sure he'll.
The Chiefs got the steal. I think they got the best quarterback in the draft by far.
Right. Who was that year? That was the year before.
There were several.
Oh, it was golf. It was golf and Wentz.
It was Goff.
Or was it that?
It was no. Goff and Wentz were the year before him.
Okay.
They were rookies the year before Mahomes came out. This is Goff and Wentz's third year. This is Mahomes'
Second year. Okay, this is gonna drive me nuts. Well,
But there were still several guys that went ahead of him. He went like 17.
Actually, I think he went pick because the at the moment I don't think
think it
the
was
Chiefs
17.
traded at all. He went like 13 or 11, something weird. Like they did not move at all, and they picked him immediately. Because I remember.
Okay, I thought they were at 17. Maybe not. I mean, bottom line is there were at least two quarterbacks that went ahead of him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is gonna drive me nuts now.
I know it'd be easy to look it up once we're off the phone. I don't know it off the top of my head,
No, I got you.
but I know that there were at least two that went ahead of him.
No, I
I
got you.
can't think off the top of my head right now, though, because I think the Steelers would have picked him if he fell to them last year. There was some conversation about that. That would have been nice. I mean, I still think what's his name's going to be good, but he's not going to be Patrick Mahomes good.
What's his name?
Our backup quarterback, I just can't think of his name.
Josh Dobbs or Mason Rudolph?
Mason Rudolph, yeah. No, I don't think Dobbs is a future starter, to be honest.
I'm not really
I might
sure
be wrong,
about
but
Mason,
I
to
don't-
be dead honest with you. I mean, it's one of those things they have to play, and if Ben's still here, they're never going to
I
play,
think-
which is fine.
I think Mason's got the prototypical quarterback arm strength, size, pocket awareness to be a successful NFL quarterback. But I think he'll be more like a Matt Ryan, like just a true pocket passer.
Mm-hmm. No, I got
Um,
you.
Dobbs gives you that other element, but I don't think he's got the leg strength.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the arm strength.
You said you didn't have the leg strength, and like to me, I took it as he didn't have the leg strength, meaning like just because you're supposedly mobile doesn't mean you know how to run the proper way or
Well, that
Can-
that too. He is a little iffy when he gets out of the pocket.
right.
Like
Yeah.
but yeah, I think he could be a decent backup in the league, but I don't think he'll ever be a starter.
No, I got you. But thanks for calling, and I'll see you tomorrow.
No problem, bud.
And bye. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. This is podcast number 9, week 6. If you haven't already, download and subscribe to us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play. Like us on Facebook, Benjamin's Dream. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at My Dream Jersey. Subscribe to our YouTube page, Benjamin's Dream. Share, comment, debate. It's always extremely welcomed. And then check out the website, mydreamjersey.com. Check out the top picks tab, and check out the merchandise tab, and check out the podcast tab. I think they're all very interesting, and you all would enjoy them. But tell a friend to tell a friend, tell a sports fan to tell a sports fan, and same time next week. Thank you. Bye.